The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Welcome to your Health and Wellness Hour, sponsored by Luminosity Wellness Center here in Las Vegas, coming to you from the studios of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting. Our goal is to incite and ignite all your senses and curiosities. So sit back, relax, open your mind and your heart, and enjoy the show.
Welcome. My name is Abra McGrath, and I'm standing in for Christine Essex. This is the Wellness Hour for Luminosity Wellness Center. Today, my special guests are from Tea-Lit. Tea-Lit distributes tea in Las Vegas. Here, we have the creator of Tea-Lit, Elyse Petersen, and her wonderful master taster, Tulali. If you guys want to tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got started in the industry, we'd love to hear your story.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us here today. We're excited to talk about tea and specifically in regards to health and wellness and lifestyle. We started Tea-Lit in May of 2012. So for the past 4.5 years, we've been building the company. It started from a small retail website and subscription service that has the mission of connecting independent tea growers with tea lovers. My work with tea started before Tea-Lit, actually several years prior. My background, I have a BS in food science and technology. I worked as a food scientist in the industry for quite some time, always trying to find my way to doing the work of why I got into food science in the first place, which is about food and providing sustenance to people. But I really felt like my work in the food industry as a scientist wasn't about that at all. It was more about making things taste better, enhancing them, all with the goal of selling more and getting people essentially addicted to it so they will buy more of it. So I became jaded on that work, and I joined the Peace Corps, and I spent a couple years living in Niger, West Africa, working with rural farmers. I ended up leaving there learning much more than what I could have shared and taught there. But really I was inspired, revitalized in why I had even generated an interest in food and agriculture, which is about providing sustenance. And there I learned from a community where they only consume what they produce with their own hands. They're so thoroughly connected with where their things come from. There's not even any question about diet or lifestyle or anything. They just make and they consume, and it makes a whole lot more sense. So I figured perhaps that's what the issue is with our food system here in the U.S., is that there's no longer connection between the producer and the consumer. So from that point forward, dedicated my life and work to doing everything to provide consciousness to this bridge. And I worked for a tea company, a very large tea company. I fell in love with the product. It's healthy. The more that you drink of it, the healthier you get. Unfortunately, though, there were a lot of issues in the supply chain and transparency in the supply chain and accountability about where tea is coming from, who is making it, how are those communities compensated, what are the environmental concerns around those communities, and that kind of led me on a journey to start working with tea farmers, first in Hawaii, then in Japan, and now connected with tea growers all around the world. And that's really what the business that we started is focused on, is being a technology platform that independent tea growers and pretty much anybody in the tea industry that wants to promote transparency in the supply chain can utilize this platform to do business, to share information, and of course to build a strong foundation and sustainability for tea, which millions of people around the world have come to love and have built a whole lifestyle around it, a lifestyle that is about health and wellness, but maybe even more importantly is a lifestyle around being social and sharing, which is what we'll do today. And Ree can introduce herself and how she's connected with the company, and hopefully she can start pouring some tea for us too.
Sure. Great. My name is Ree Tulali, and I work together with Elyse as the other half of Tea here in Las Vegas. Abra likes to refer to me as a master tea taster, but I'm proud to say that I have no certifications or formal training in tea. What's so wonderful about tea is that anyone can approach it, anyone can learn about it. There's so much to learn, but just with a teacup, a teapot, and some leaves, you can get into tea. That's what makes it so wonderful for us. My journey in tea started just getting gifts from the family, from Taiwan oolongs that would come in red gifts that I didn't really know about, but they tasted good. But honestly, my tea journey started with Teavana, which is I think where a lot of people start their tea journey here in the United States. It's one of those companies that plays on that health and wellness marketing without truly living up to the health and wellness. So that's how I got into it, lured in by the beautiful stories, the beautiful promises of health, and how wonderful the antioxidants were in every single tea that were plucked only 100 days out of the year by virgins.
Floating on clouds.
It's a ridiculous story, but really it draws you in.
Enticing.
So it's very enticing. So I came into the store after being gifted by someone a tin of tea, and very quickly fell into the world of tea. But now, once you start researching about these things that are heavily marketed, you find that the truth really isn't on the tin. It's not really in the marketing if the company is not ethical. So I became pretty frustrated with tea because I was so impressed by the world and how diverse it was in tea and in flavors, but didn't have that access in Teavana or even at Whole Foods or Walmart. So I just researched tea as much as possible, and before I knew it, I came to the point that I knew enough about tea that when Elyse came to Las Vegas, and I messaged her on Instagram, just typical tea Instagram, passionate little, college student. I said, Elyse Petersen, can I meet you? I think you like tea. I don't know what your company is. I don't know who you are, but you have a Gaiwan on your Instagram, like me. I have a Gaiwan too. So we should probably meet.
We should be friends.
We should be friends. And I wasn't trying to network. I just wanted to meet someone who
shared the same passion.
Shared the same passion. Right. And then the thing is, a lot of people don't look at our mission in depth. Like, they don't know that we're, they don't know the intricacies of the ethics and the food sourcing and the supply chain. They might not dig that deep into it, but even just on a passing glance, I knew as a follower of Elyse's that, yes, this company was interested in the farmers in some way, and they were interested in ethics in some way, and they were interested in quality tea in some way. So that's what brought me to message her and have us meet. Unfortunately, at the time, when she asked me, she applied to me, thank goodness, and she asked me, "That's great. Where should we meet?" And I said there's
nowhere to go.
Meet, so we should go for ramen instead. So we had some ramen and made a commitment that day to build on the tea community here. We had a lot in common. Elyse comes from a very rich background of food science, and her experiences in the Peace Corps are pretty incredible, and I've learned a lot from her. So that was inspiring. But then I guess I brought in the passion for tea as well, and just wanting to have it happen in Las Vegas, and it was a pretty good combination. So, because I guess we're here.
And how long have you both been in Las Vegas? You said
I've been here for 9 years.
9 years.
So I'm a UNLV
graduate.
So I'm very proud.
Congratulations.
To say that. A lot of people don't have Las Vegas pride, but I've been here a long time, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we can build here. So 9 years for me.
And how long?
I've been here for a little over 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, I moved from Honolulu, which is where I started Tea-Let, and then moved here when the travel became too cumbersome. And always remembered that Las Vegas had a great airport that is very easy to access. So that was literally the only reason why I chose Las Vegas. All the other perks that I've come to learn, I didn't know about at the time.
Yeah, which also takes a while to sift through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I've been here almost 7 years, and just stumbling upon you guys was one of the greatest gifts, I do have to tell you.
Oh,
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Likewise, I mean, I remember when we first met in that downtown house. We used to have an office downtown in the John S. Park neighborhood, and I think that was the first time we'd met. And that was when I was just starting to get into TLET, because I joined Elyse shortly after we met, maybe 4 months after. I was still a college student then. I took a year off shortly after to focus on the company, but that's where we met. And that house was just a symbol of how much hidden culture and consciousness Las Vegas had.
It was a mecca in the middle of downtown Old Huntridge. You know, it's like up and coming. This was like the Beverly Hills of downtown at one point, and then it got super seedy, and it was making a comeback. And how great is that? I mean, it's just proof in the pudding that all the serendipity and everything that comes together in Las Vegas, I mean, it just all happens for a peculiar reason. You don't know why, but all of a sudden we're all together, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So that's what we wanted to talk about today, is how tea does so much more than just provide health benefits. People don't even realize that's one of the things that it does. It can bring people together. There's so many different aspects to it, and TLET was one of the first real community feelings that I had in my neighborhood, and so we'll talk about tea culture. We'll talk about the health benefits. But we'll just talk about it as a holistic practice, and how you can, we're going to demonstrate here how you can use it. It's very easy. I know some people shy away from the tea, the loose leaf, and are only familiar with tea bags, but you know, it's we'll show you the practicality, how easy it is, and how it's almost like a beautiful symphony. You know, there's like, you can make it your own, you can personalize it, and once you start getting into the different flavors, your worlds just open up. And so would you like to start pouring a cup of tea here?
Sure. We'll start with a tea that's very close to Elyse and I's hearts. It's a tea called Da Hong Pao, which means big red robe. It's been very difficult for us to work with teas from China. This is a Chinese oolong, just because it's the tea is so famous in China that it's very easily faked.
Oh,
so for
wow.
us to have developed that connection with a farmer who's lived there for the past 3 generations, is living on the land that is now protected by the government. They're allocated a little bit of land so that they can continue farming, and no one else is allowed to farm there except for that original family. Again, for us to be able to have that connection there and to bring that to Las Vegas and to our buyers around the world is very special to us. It's very tasty. That's the most important thing, is that even with all the stories that we care about so much, the most important thing is how it tastes and how it makes you feel.
Excellent.
So I'll make this tea.
Excellent.
So yeah, while Ree's preparing that, I think it'd be good for us just to get out of the way. This is a health and wellness show, and we're talking about tea. So just quickly to go talk about the health benefits of tea. We don't typically talk about health benefits. We don't publicize any health benefits on our labels. We don't encourage our buyers, and our buyers being tea shops or tea retailers, anybody that uses our platform for sourcing in bulk from the farmers. We also provide a lot of marketing advice and marketing collateral that they can use to help with selling the tea. And with that, we never include any health benefits, but there are. And I think it is important to briefly mention those. The most obvious one being like weight loss, right? A lot of people want to know about weight loss and what tea is best for weight loss. How many times I get asked that question?
Right. This is the first of the year. It's a resolution.
It's a big one, you know, and the most obvious thing with weight loss is that if you start making tea a daily habit, a daily part of your lifestyle, that is going to replace, you know, some things with you know, health problems in the Western world. A lot of it is related to sugar, and a big part of where we get our sugar is from sweetened soft drinks and fruit juices. So, you know, replacing even just a part of your consumption of those soft drinks with tea is going to reduce a significant portion of calories in your daily intake, which over time you may notice you start to lose weight. There is no magical tea that you can buy off Instagram promoted by one of the Kardashians that will make you magically lose 20 pounds in a week. It just doesn't exist. Don't buy it. Don't
Waste your money.
Don't waste your money. I have friends that are in that business and that are trying to, make a quick buck. And I always tell them, I'm like, you're not really doing a great justice to tea, because, people that may be their first exposure to tea, and they get it with this expectation of losing weight, and they don't lose weight, and
so it turns them
off of tea
altogether.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you.
instead of realizing, that there may be a tea that they really enjoy, that they replace in their daily life that would reduce consumption of sodas or other soft drinks, they'll happily exchange, and the weight loss is just going to be a cherry on top, the following year when you get on the scale and say, wow, I lost 20 pounds. I don't know how that happened. It may have just been that simple replacement. Tea also is high in different antioxidants. Not every tea is the same, so I can't generalize. I can't even really generalize that green teas in particular are good, although certain green teas are higher in, certain antioxidants. So, it's another one of those things. That
Depending on how they're processed or picked, affects that.
Yeah, so, just making all types of tea a part of your daily lifestyle, you're really not going to feel the difference about those antioxidants until, you're in your 50s and 60s and you've been cancer-free your whole life, and there could be other factors too that played into that. But just having, tea as a part of your lifestyle, all types of tea, is really going to get you to that point. We have some people that come in that are struggling with cancer, right now, and they say, what tea do I need to drink with antioxidants? And it's kind of like, well,
it's a process.
Yeah, it's a process. I can't really tell you right now what it's gonna.
I can give you something to help you with energy levels, or to help you cope and maintenance yourself. But you can't. There's nothing that's a cure-all. Is the major point of it.
And in like traditional Chinese medicine, there are some thoughts around different teas being good for different things. So pu'er tea is good with, helping the body digest food. So
tell the listeners what pu'er is.
So pu'er is a type of tea. It's one of the 6 major types of tea. It's actually the most traditional type of processed tea. All tea comes from the same plant. That plant's name is Camellia sinensis. It grows in subtropical areas all over the world. It originally started being cultivated and processed in China, but it's since expanded.
And this is all tea, but herbal tea.
Everything but herbal. So yeah, herbal infusions are actually not tea, and that's not in the American definition of tea that we've all come to know, which is usually just defined as something that's been infused in hot water. So anything could be a tea.
It's a tree, a root, or flower.
You infuse it in hot water, it becomes tea. But the traditional term tea that comes from the word cha in Chinese is indicating infusion that's been made from this particular plant, which is called Camellia sinensis. It grows as a tree. It can grow into an enormous tree, multiple stories tall, hundreds of years old. But typically now the industry grows it as a hedge from clonal cuttings. So you may have seen, the pictures of the beautiful rolling hills of the, rows of perfectly manicured green tea bushes. And the reason why they do that is because it just makes it more efficient for harvesting. Whenever it's all in a row like that. Even in Japan, they're able to
picking levels.
They're able to just run a hedger over the top of the shrubs to harvest what's used to make the tea, which is just the first two leaves in a bud, or sometimes just the bud. Like in the case of this tea that we're drinking right now, it's a black tea. Or no, I'm sorry, we're not drinking that right now. It's an oolong tea. This is made with the bud in 2 leaves, and sometimes even more leaves, but it's dried afterwards.
So the way it's processed determines which style of tea that it is.
Yeah, so there can be pu'er, green, white, black, oolong, and yellow tea, which is, not large quantities of yellow tea is made, but it's a different process that makes it yellow, kind of like green tea. So all those processes are mostly differentiated by the degree of oxidation that's applied to the leaf. Now, oxidation is what happens when you cut an apple and it starts to turn brown. There's an enzyme in there that starts browning the phenols. The phenols turn.
So with the air or sun?
With the with oxygen. Mm-hmm. The oxygen is needed to create that reaction. That enzyme is what actually initiates the reaction. So if you can denature that enzyme, if you can kill that enzyme, you can stop that reaction from happening. So with green tea, they deactivate the enzyme by applying heat. That's either done through a wok or through steam, or potentially you can even blanch it. I mean, just think about things that you do to vegetables already to kind of preserve the color. You can blanch them. You can just stir fry them really fast. Lock
so
in the
buds
green color.
Are like blanched.
Yeah, you can. You can blanch them, but most will pan fire in a wok, or they will steam, and that will lock in the green color. And then the processing is finished, and the tea is dried. A white tea is harvested from very young buds that has as little process applied as possible. So it's literally just plucked and dried. That's the white tea. And then black tea is manipulated in a way to break the cell walls so that that enzyme is actually encouraged to oxidize the leaf. And so, black tea, the reason why it's so dark or black, or in Chinese they call it red tea, is because the oxidation has fully occurred. And oolong tea is somewhere in the middle. It's somewhere between 20 and 80% oxidation. So what we're drinking now is oxidation has occurred. That's why it's not green. You see, it's a darker color. But the degree of oxidation is relatively high, because you can have an oolong tea that's more on the green side, but this one's pretty dark, and it's roasted after it's been dried. So that's another reason why it becomes a darker color and kind of takes on kind of those nutty, kind of sweet notes. It's from the roasting.
It's delicious.
Here's the leaves, if you'd like to see.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
And once the leaves get infused more, they will start to open up more, and you can really see the form of the 2 leaves in a bud. Let's see if I can open up any of these.
I'm trying to open up the gingermay.
The gingermay's easy. Yeah.
Thank you.
So pu'er tea is the most traditional processed tea. So, we got a little zoom in there. We can see how nice this looks. So you see the leaves are still all crinkled up. It means that there's still more to give in this tea. So we could add hot water to this over and over and over again, essentially until the cup. Here you see the cup. Let's see how dark the color of the liquor is. That's what we call the liquor, is the tea that's made from the leaf. This will turn clear, and you will not be getting any flavor out of it. It means the leaves are spent and time to move on to a new tea. But when a tea is good quality, you should be able to infuse it over and over again, 5 to 10 times. In some cases with pu'er that have much deeper and richer flavors that are deep in the leaf, you can get over 20 steeps, 20 infusions out of one leaf. All right, so this is the black tea, the gingermay, so we can actually see the buds here. So this tea, Jinjame, the black tea, it's harvested only with the bud. You see how these little buds? That's just the bud that grows at the top of the tree. So you imagine how labor intensive.
Oh wow!
It is to make this tea.
Oolong for comparison.
And then here's the oolong leaf. So you can see the whole big leaf, and then versus this little bud that's just here.
So there's another special enzyme in there that you wanted to talk about.
The amino acid.
Oh, sorry.
The special one.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
The special one, yeah.
Let's let the scientists handle it.
Yeah. So tea's got caffeine in it. And a lot of people are kind of afraid of it because of that. But not to fear, because with that caffeine is also the special amino acid, L-theanine. And L-theanine is actually, right now, has become very popular in the nootropics sector. Right. So nootropics are essentially like brain drugs.
So yeah, I saw them in the health food store, just sold alone, and I was like, well, if there's no caffeine in there, then how is it benefiting?
Yeah, so you've got to take other pills together.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So the L-theanine only works in the body when it's paired with caffeine, and I think there's some other compounds in there too that need to be there. Conveniently, tea is God's way of giving us that L-theanine. It's already packed with everything else that's needed to activate in the body. And what it does when it is activated in the body is creates a mental focus, but then a body relaxation. So that's why tea can keep you awake and alert for work or for whatever you have going on throughout the day, but it's not gonna buzz up your whole body and make you crash afterwards.
Exhaust your adrenal glands like maybe coffee might.
Yeah, it'll actually relax your body, and so that's why tea was always a favorite meditation tool for monks. And really, in the beginning of its time of tea being processed and made, most of it was just being consumed by monks. It wasn't a thing that common people. Tea really didn't become popular among the common people until thousands of years after it was invented.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was like a secret weapon for monks so that they could stay awake, but then also stay calm and kind of relaxed and meditative for. So
it creates kind of a happy punch drunk kind of feel. We call it tea drunk, right?
It can, yeah. So that's whenever you start, getting immense amounts of that L-theanine. And when it comes to tea drunk, it may not just be L-theanine. I think that there's other factors at play than just the L-theanine. But people have different tolerances, and different teas will get you closer to that tolerance than others. But yeah, tea drunk, it's not anything to be scared. It's not an intoxication. It is actually kind of like your level of consciousness might have been here when you started drinking the tea, and then by the time you get tea drunk, your level of consciousness is up here, which is a good thing.
Amazing.
It's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Considering we dumbed down a lot.
Yeah. So what you'll notice is your conversation, will become more fluid. Your stream of consciousness will become more clear.
Your creativity levels spike. Things just happen that once, you had as a child, I think, and you missed those parts of your brain.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's always really fun when you're with other people that are going through the same experience. And I mean, unless you're talking about it, you're really just going with the flow. Like, everybody just gets in flow together. And so that's why tea is such a great thing in corporate environments or in large group environments where people have to brainstorm together and come up with ideas together, because the tea can get everybody on this similar higher level of consciousness, make everybody more relaxed and peaceful, and maybe forget some personal squabble they have with somebody else or whatever, and just focus on the conversation,
being present.
Being present.
Yeah, and that's the biggest focus I think that we're all seeking. And at the Luminosity Center, we have meditations. We've got practitioners that are just training people on how to be present. And you were talking about the disconnection between the farmers and the consumers. Well, I mean, there's a disconnection between all of us, like as a race, you know, and so tea making us sit down, making us enjoy company, and learning a thing or two, just about how we can take care of ourselves. I think we're going to take a little commercial break and get a word from our sponsors and come back to you and talk to you a little bit more about tea with Tealet.
Luminosity Wellness Center is a community of independent holistic practitioners specializing in stress relief, pain reduction, depression, anxiety, weight loss, smoking, relationship issues, trauma, fears, and phobias, as well as everyday life situations. If you are stuck, struggling, or unsatisfied, Luminosity Wellness Center provides answers, solutions, and guidance. Call 702-721-9355 or visit our website at luminicitywellnesscenter.com. We have a resource center for all your needs, books, CDs, crystals, and more. Inside the center, we have practitioner and event rooms for rent. Come by and check out the facilities at 2400 North Tenaya Way, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89128.
Hello, welcome back to the Wellness Hour. I am Abra McGrath, sitting in for Christine Essex, and we're here with Elyse Petersen and tell me your last name again.
Tulali.
I'm so terrible. Tulali, I love you, by the way.
I love you too.
You know, it's funny, you read someone's name for so long and you realize you've never spoken it aloud. It does trippy things to your brain. So they're here from Tealet, and we're discussing tea and the tea culture in Las Vegas and health benefits and just how it brings us all together and how we can practically integrate it into our lifestyles, because that's what's important coming into this new year is figuring out how to make our lives easier and to be more positive and happy. And tea has come into my life and just added such an amazing element of happiness and social events and things that I'd never even dreamed of. It's become such a integrated part of our family's lifestyle. Not just having it when you're sick or when you're going to grandma's, but my daughter, she's 17 years old, and she's been drinking tea since she was a baby. And I find that she goes straight for it, you know, and touching these millennials and getting them excited about tea is something we're all excited about in Las Vegas, and getting them interested in doing something because they see us growing up and how our health and work environments have stressed us, and so Elyse wanted to touch a little bit more on some more health benefits and what it can do to make more positive lifestyle change for you and your family.
Yeah, there are a lot of health benefits to tea. A lot. There's, hundreds and hundreds of articles, scientific, peer-reviewed articles that have proven different health benefits of tea. But unfortunately, all of those health benefits are ones that you don't see right away. And they only come to you after tea has become a major lifestyle, part of you. And it's not just about one tea, but about all different types of tea. Thousands and thousands of different varieties of tea can be made from that one plant, Camellia sinensis. So, what we like to encourage people to do is to not focus on those health benefits, but to focus more on finding a tea that tastes good to you, that's appealing to your taste buds, because that's how you're going to get the tea to replace the sodas or the other soft drinks that you're drinking. And then also one that makes you feel good. So going back to that L-theanine, that special amino acid we talked about before the break, does the tea make you feel good? And not just, in your energy levels, in your focus and your relaxation levels, but also in kind of how your body feels and how the energy of the tea is meeting with the energy of your body. So everybody's got a different, need. So what's really good to find a tea or a variety of teas that fit with your lifestyle and that you can make a part of your lifestyle so you can get the health benefits from it, is by finding ones that taste good to you and make you feel good. And really the only way to accomplish that is by trying lots of different teas. And so I think right now in Las Vegas, what we're having to do, because the story Ree shared about when we first met through Instagram, there was no place for us to meet to have tea. Most cities have at least a tea shop or a tea house or even a cafe that has some selection of tea. But when I moved here 3 years ago, there was none. And so that's really what the first step that we had for here in Las Vegas, in order for us to meet other tea friends, was to start to establish that culture and help get projects off the ground that will become those spaces where people can come in and get exposed to tea, try new ones, find ones that they like, find ones that they don't like. It's fine to not like one. There's thousands of other ones to choose from. It's just like wine.
Learning your palate.
Yep. Yeah, learning your palate. So, I think since we met 3 years ago, there are now, I think, like 5 different places in town that on a daily basis you could just walk in and sit down and start learning about tea. And there's several more on the horizon that are opening up, and everyone's different and unique, which is really cool. So there's not a whole lot of competition going on, because everybody that's opening has got a different value proposition. They are targeting a different part of the community. I know that you guys just launched your tea program.
Yes, we just opened in the Luminosity Wellness Center's boutique. We have a beautiful display of tea-lit teas, and you can come in and sample them. And also there's gift packs for purchase, but we do a little education class on each of the teas, so you can learn about the farmers and how you're sourcing and buying responsible product. I think that's a huge concern for people nowadays, is making that connection with where it's coming from. How ethical is it, like Ree was touching on earlier, and people want to know the value of their dollar.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, because when I first started Tea-Let, I had no tea marketing background. I'd never been a salesperson for tea before. And so I led with that story about the grower, because that's where the company originated, was from my work with tea farmers. I started with a nonprofit, and the goal of the nonprofit was to build a bridge between tea growers and tea lovers. But the nonprofit was not very sustainable, because there was no money-making, kind of motivation to keep it going. So that's why I started Tea-Let. And that was always the first pitch that I would make, was about, don't you want to know where your stuff come from? Don't you want to know about the ethics? And people said yes, they'll listen, but they weren't actually like putting their dollars behind it. And it took a couple of years for me to realize that what needs to come first and foremost is how is your experience with what's in the cup? Does it taste good? Does it make you feel good? And that's when people will actually put their dollars out and make it a lifestyle change. And hearing the growers' stories and the ethics after that it's like the health benefits, it's a cherry on top. So, but something, recently Ree and I both are starting to notice is that there is a correlation between the ethics and the quality, right? So it's like, a meal gets made for you, even if it's not made with the highest quality ingredients. If it's made with love, the food is probably still going to taste pretty good, So there's that element of intention behind, and there's an intention in the brewing of the tea. So like if Ree was to be making the tea for us right now and not paying attention and not caring about it, and maybe she lets it steep for 5 minutes before she remembers it, and then she pours it for us, maybe tea is not going to taste so good.
There's an energy behind it.
There's an energy and intention behind it, and that intention, it flows all the way to the soil. It flows even deeper than that, and that's what we really like.
Here, Abra, go smell the soil. You'll be able to smell it.
Ooh. Wow.
And so, you know,
Wish I could
we've
pass that through the mic.
all right. Small vision, right?
Doesn't get old.
It's a nice tea. You know, so, you know, we get a lot of samples that come in through our office, and we'll taste them. We give every farmer a chance as long as the farm is willing to be honest and transparent with us. That's first step. So we have a questionnaire survey, and they have to answer all the questions, and that includes agriculture practices, what type of chemicals are you using, how often. We don't shame anybody for using chemicals because we totally understand.
Some people can only be as progressive as
Yeah.
they can be
We just
within
want to
their
know.
boundaries of where
we
they
just
live,
want to
right?
know the truth.
You know, everybody's moving towards a certain goal that way. Okay.
So yeah, if a farmer doesn't want to tell us any information, we take that as an immediate red flag that there's something they're trying to hide there. So, you know, as long as a grower tells us, yes, these are the chemicals we use, we do not judge against them. We will still accept their tea, and it'll go through the vetting process to see if it's ready for market. And essentially that's when the quality tasting gets involved. And
Is that when you go visit them and see?
sometimes it happens. We do a visit with them, and we usually do the visit during the spring. So if the timing is right, then perhaps the first time we taste someone's tea is when we physically go there. But a lot of times the timing is not right, and so we do receive samples, you know, through the mail, and we'll converse back and forth with the grower through email, social media. I mean, we use any channel that's needed. You know, for some people, their idea of the internet. It is completely started through their smartphone, right? Their idea of the internet did not start through the computer like it did with us,
Right.
you know? So the idea of email and all those types of things is different. So like their idea of the internet and communication potentially is WeChat or a
WhatsApp
Facebook
or
Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever. Some
Wow.
of them, it's even Instagram, because that was just how they got up and going on the internet and communicating with
wow.
the world. And
People
so,
use what they're familiar with.
yeah. And so that's
stick
what
with
we've
it.
learned is if
Right.
we really want to be this all-inclusive platform, we have to be inclusive of all these communication tools.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, my cell phone is filled with every single application from around the world for communication, and we use all of them all the time. So we do manage that communication, and then the first chance we get, we do visit them in person, so we can just cross-check all the information that they gave us. If there's, you know, a non-match on anything, we pretty much have a one-strike, you're out policy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a very patient person when it comes to being lied to. So.
Well, understandably. You know, I flew all halfway across the world for this. You better get your ducks in a row, right?
Unfortunately, when people are good intentioned and their tea tastes good, those good intentions tend to shine through, and we haven't had any issues.
There you
so,
go.
The only teas that we have, or only producers that we've had to discontinue work with, you know, were for one reason or another didn't want to be honest with us, and then when we actually visit them, we find out that it's not really a fit, and we are taking accountability for their honesty and representing that honesty to buyers in the U.S. And these buyers are people that are busy running businesses, are busy running a tea shop, that they can't travel every year to go meet these people. So
Right.
we're really trying our hardest
Hold people accountable.
to hold everybody
Yeah.
accountable, and that's why there's a one strike you're out. And you know, it's
So that, I'm sorry.
it works.
That leads
it's
me
what we
to a
have
question. So, how much of a base did you start with before? Now you have people approaching you and sending you tea.
Mm-hmm.
When did that transition happen, where people started coming to you, and how wonderful does that feel?
So actually, that's happened since before the company even existed. So there was such a pain in the industry and in the supply chain. This company started because of that demand.
Awesome.
Right? Yeah. Where we're having trouble is on the other side of the marketplace, which is the buyer's side. And so the first couple of years, and it's funny because Rhea and I, she manages all of our accounts. So pretty much anybody that's like interested in buying tea or starting up a business or whatever, she works with all of them to educate and provide marketing help and whatnot. When she first started doing our accounts, this was like 2 years ago, we were noticing a lot of resistance a lot of hung up phone calls and shut doors to the face. But now, as every year passes, that experience changes, where now people are seeking us out, and there's already like a large layer of trust that exists between our brand and them before we even start having conversations with them. So that feels good. That's the part that really feels good, that our message is getting it through, because in the beginning, a lot of people didn't trust what we were doing. It was too good to be true. You're really being honest? Like, usually people in business aren't honest. They're usually not transparent. This is too good to be true. Something's got to be up here. And people didn't really trust it. And I think, over time, and as reputation built, and as people started to do business with us and started to spread the word that, this is actually real.
And this is what longevity starts with. This is how you generate longevity. How funny is that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, basically,
thank you.
Moral of the story here is just to find tea that you like, tastes good, makes you feel good around other people. It's so good that you want to share it with everybody else. That is when tea is going to start to become a part of your lifestyle, and all of the health benefits that come along with it, which are pretty much endless, will be at your disposal. So find tea that you like. That's pretty much it. And we're working hard, and I think you'll have some other guests come on and talk with you to talk about the Las Vegas tea culture and how that's growing, so people can know where they can go out. I mean, right now, going to the Luminosity Center is a first step that you could do. We also have Lucky Dragon, which is probably one of the most extensive tea lists here in Las Vegas. You can sit down with a tea sommelier, learn about different teas from China and Taiwan, and start to find teas that you like. And several other tea programs launching off the ground. Find them in the most random places. But tea's getting hot.
Tea's getting hot.
Or it's getting cool. I don't know.
We're not drinking it quickly enough. Well, I thank you guys so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure to even sit down and enjoy a cup with you. And your extensive knowledge. These are my tea encyclopedias. Every time I'm with them. Oh, yes. You're not a master? Sure. All right. Sure.
You're too nice, Abra. The tea's just really good.
We don't have 20 years to wait to call you a master. Okay.
I think it's 27 years.
Oh, 27. See, my numbers are always off. Awesome. Thank you guys for being guests on my show today, and I look forward to having more conversations and hot cups of tea with you and growing this culture together.
Yep.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, we hope to see you at the Southwest Tea Festival, which is going to be on February 25th and 26th, and that'll be at the Lucky Dragon Casino. We'll have tea vendors and tea businesses from around the Southwest, throughout Nevada, as well as New Mexico, California, Arizona, all together to share tea culture. And for people, including viewers, you're all welcome to come to get introduced to different brands and tea experiences in the area.
Excellent. And if you have any more questions, you can reach us at WWDBTV.com. The number is 02-685-8380. We're also at the Luminosity Center here on Smoke Ranch in Tenaya Way. It's 2400 North Tenaya Way, Las Vegas, Nevada. I look forward to seeing you over here to answer any questions you might have, and we invite you to those festivals. So please come back and join us. Once again, my name is Abra McGrath, and it's been lovely having you here on the Wellness Hour. Have a great day.